Hello and welcome to our podcast, Meanwhile in the Falklands. I'm Hannah.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're here to talk to you about what's been going on in our week, FITV news-wise.
Obviously the most important things that have ever happened in the Falklands.
Obviously.
Exactly, and obviously the best podcast in the Falklands, I must say.
Hands down. Are we the only one?
No,
We're
but
with some competition.
hey-ho, we are the best.
I was going to say, we won't say who it is because I don't want to plug them, but off mic, you've got to tell me this.
Yeah, no, but we are obviously the best podcasters in the Falklands. But anyway, we are missing a special man this week who probably should be on this podcast because he has featured in our show this week quite heavily. Who might that be, Tom?
Well, Mr. David Bailey, historian, local historian.
Freelance news presenter.
Yes.
You might have seen him on our sofa many moons ago.
He's a rising star.
He is a rising star, and unfortunately we forgot to invite him to take part in this podcast.
Well,
He probably would have loved to, though.
Yeah, he would have loved it.
He was obviously too busy historianing.
Yes.
Which is my new verb for today. Historian.
You spent a lot of time with him, didn't you, Tom, this week? How was it? He was trying to do a lot of walkie-talkie things. What is a walkie-talkie?
A walkie-talkie, which is an incredibly technical term, which defines walking whilst talking. Never would have guessed that, would you? So we did a piece marking the 120th anniversary since one of the local shipwrecks, the John R. Kelly, and had spoken to Bailey about doing a piece on it. I was thinking more of our classic pieces with the museum, where we go down, we chat to one of them, and they tell us a little bit about the history of something. Nice quick interview, maybe some photos. Yeah, no, he wrote a bloody novel.
How many pieces of cameras did you have? Was that a mustard word? I don't know. In fact, I don't think that is a
I
mustard
don't think
word.
it counts.
We'll get away with that. Come on, Paula's not here. Everything's gone out the window. We'll have whatever words we want in this podcast. Freedom of speech.
I think we recorded 9 or 10 pieces of camera in the end, and I didn't use 1 or 2. But then there's like 12 voiceovers as well.
God.
I cut down the script quite a lot, and we've still ended up with like a 6.5-7 minute historical documentary on the John R. Kelly, which has actually looked quite good. I've never used so many sound effects in a piece before in my life.
And what was he wearing? What's Bailey's? I know this is what we're all very interested in. What was he wearing?
Talk about Bailey's fashion.
Yeah, what did he have the hands, or did he have something that kind of made him stick out as a presenter? Trademark. What was his trademark?
I don't know. He's got my favourite bit is the end. I asked him to do the last piece to camera in a couple of different ways, to end it in a couple of different ways, and it ends with, you can find out more about maritime history of the Falkland Islands here at the Historic Dockyard Museum, and he ends with his hands out, both palms upwards.
Gesticulating.
But rather, he gesticulated. You can do it here at the Royal History, like the Historical Dockyard Museum, but rather than like a normal person and just putting your hands back down, he held for like 6 or 7 seconds with his hands up, so I couldn't change it, so I've left the 6-7 awkward seconds at the end.
That's amazing.
And listener, if you're wondering what we mean by that, Tom is actually gesticulating now with his hands up. Almost like, what's the name of that god, the Hindu god with many arms?
So yeah, palms raised towards
Vishnu,
the
is
ceiling.
it? Yeah. But no, he did a good job, didn't he? Do you think we need to have a look at it actually?
Yeah, he seemed quite excited when he came into the office about what he was doing.
Well, I think he's an avid historian, as we well know, and just the prospect of being able to live out a childhood dream, which was actually going out there and presenting something like one of the infamous new historical presenters across British television. He had a big conversation with me about his different style, and he ended up going for an open collared shirt and an all-weather jacket.
Did he ooze sex appeal? Is this what we're saying?
Always, actually.
Did he become a bit of a diva? Was he starting to demand things like, I want only green M&Ms in this museum?
No, he was no Jared Leto. But he was getting mighty frustrated with me because he'd be like, that piece of camera was good. I was like, yeah, let's do it again. Personally, I like to have 2 or 3 different versions of it.
Yeah.
You've got options. But he'd fluff it 5 or 6 times and then nail it once and be like, that's it. And I was like, no, we're doing that again. And he'd fluff it 2 or 3 more times and then get a good one. There was the first day we filmed. We filmed on the Monday, literally until there was no light. Until we could not film anymore, and bless him, because for the continuity it was just the shirt and the all-weather jacket.
Was he cold? Oh, he must have been blue.
Freezing by the end of it. I was fine, I was all nicely wrapped up.
We'll have to get him to do another bit.
Oh yeah,
We'll have to
definitely.
get him back in because he's
back on
great,
the
isn't he?
sofa.
Enthusiastic.
Yeah.
He's very enthusiastic, to say the least.
Yeah, so I'm sure like all of us, he'll watch it back and be quite nitpicky over some things he'd do differently next time. But as a first presenter-led piece, I think he's done a fantastic job. I also love the idea of being the presenter and not having to do any of the editing. He's got one hell of like a good end of the deal right there.
Yeah,
He's worked that out well.
Yeah, he did the writing and the presenting, and I did the rest. He did the more fun bit actually.
Oh, that was good. We've been busy as well.
We have been
Where were
very,
we?
very busy.
Wednesday night. We took a trip. Was it Wednesday or Tuesday?
It was Wednesday night.
Tuesday.
Tuesday night.
God, I don't even
yes.
know what it was.
Where did we go?
We went to Government House to film the Scout swearing in ceremony,
Yes.
and it was insane.
It
was
was
manic.
Mental. You needed ear
So
defenders.
literally insane.
Literally.
What was it? 70 plus Cub Scouts, Explorers and Beavers.
So 70 plus, like 12 and under, 14 and under kids.
Yeah, and they were all running riot.
Running
shall we say.
absolute
But
riot.
they did listen though,
Yeah.
I must admit. They were very good. They didn't have their tea and cake or anything like that
No.
first. They had to sit and watch this ceremony whilst
Exactly.
Stanley, their mascot, came out and did the certificates.
Their
was
mascot?
Yes.
Who was their mascot?
Well, we'll let the viewer
Yes.
find out. Actually, they can find out on
Watch the
Friday
piece
because
and you'll-
it may have been the governor.
maybe.
Or it may not have been the governor. So you'll have to watch on Friday to find out who actually it was. But they also had to do a special challenge, didn't
They had to make the little bottle rocket ships. So they had to craft them all and make them into actual rockets. And then they
Were they firing this around inside
No,
Government
not
House?
inside
no,
Government
we
House.
were.
No, although saying that, Callan fired one inside Government House.
Yes.
But she didn't smash anything.
Oh.
She was doing a very controlled
I'm
demonstration.
surprised she should get a warning for
I
that.
know,
Her
I
dog,
know.
Jesus. Karen, can't believe you did that. Very naughty.
But no, they took them outside and they fired them off across the little garden that's outside Government House to see who's flew the furthest. But they seem to work pretty well. They all seem to go a similar distance, which was.
And we found out something very interesting, which leads me on nicely to my next story I'm going to talk about. We found out that Neil Armstrong was a top scout.
Top scout.
What's
So
the top scout? Define the top scout.
The tippity top scout.
the cherry on top of the
Yes.
cake
Yes.
scout.
So he brought my grammar is awful. Sorry, Paula. When he did the first moon landing, he had his scout badge in his
he brought one with him.
which leads us on nicely to the Scouts always make
Yep.
decorations for the May Ball every year. And this year, the theme is space.
Is that based on Armstrong?
honour of
then?
Neil
Yes,
Armstrong.
and the lunar, because it's the 50, let's have like 50 years of the
It's
lunar
50
landings
years or
anniversary.
almost 50 years, something
Yeah,
like that.
the anniversary.
1969 was it?
Yeah,
But it's
so-
also that a bunch of the other astronauts were scouts as well. They were all. So I think the message is, if you're the scout, you'll probably get to space at some point.
And you'll probably be an astronaut.
Yeah.
So
I
everyone joins
I
Scouts
like,
and
how
will
you
be an
guys are, I
astronaut.
like how you guys are talking about this, like the lunar thing is actually real.
Oh, boo. But yeah, no, it was good, wasn't it? So they've
Yeah.
been busy making decorations for the May Ball, which we will be filming next week.
Next week.
And this will be
Friday.
all very
My
first
very first
ever
May
May
Ball.
Ball. Now, I must admit, Kyle's very good at the job, but sometimes he can be slightly scruffy when presenting the
Slightly
new. I mean,
scruffy.
his tie can be slightly off. So
I mean,
how
it does get picked up on every Sunday night.
I
Yeah.
think someone described me as a scruffy schoolboy at one point.
and Jerry always
It's
seems
fine.
to tell you that you look very tired. So
Jenny's always got a comment about how I look or how I'm acting, and I'm like, God, look, I'm not sleeping well. It's fine. Just you don't have to mention it.
So what will you be wearing to the May Ball?
I don't know.
What dress do you have?
So I've left all my dresses in the UK.
What?
So unfortunately,
Disaster.
all of my couture gowns will not be making any appearance. But I actually don't know what I'm going to be wearing, because I was just going to wear the suit, one of the suits that I have. But then Tom advised me that that's not formal enough.
Is it the new suit? The only suit you've
I have
owned?
two suits.
Yeah.
I have a light grey suit and I have a dark grey suit.
Well, I don't know. I think you might get away with it. I did not get away with the fact that I wore a blazer, shirt, tie, and some really quite fancy, well, not fancy, but nice-looking chinos the first time I went, and I did get told off by the fact that, for the fact that I was wearing chinos. And the tie, the dress shirt, the blazer, the nice polished shoes, they mean nothing.
Nothing.
No one could see past the chinos, so do be careful.
No.
I got away with it last year, and I kindly didn't have to work it because it fell on the night of my birthday.
Well,
but
I'm sure if you speak to Fioda's Theresa Lang, she might be able to let you go in the wardrobe and pick something from the
maybe that'd be
from
a good
one of the
idea.
plays or
Yes.
something. Or that dress that you
Oh,
were
yes.
when you first came in. You could wear that little brolly. What was it?
was it Lady Bracknell?
Lady
It was
Bracknell
Lady
dress.
Bracknell.
There we go. I'm sure Paula wouldn't mind.
That'd be extremely formal. I
Yeah.
think that would go over quite well.
No, but they do always say they want things to be a bit different. And
How-
men can dance with men, and men can wear dresses if they
How
want to.
good would it be if we did it presenter-led and Kyle interviewed all of them dressed as Lady
Yeah.
Bracknell with the brolly?
I think this could be a fabulous
See,
idea.
I think I'm being roped into things again. 'Cause
Oh,
I
you
was-
love it.
I
What else
do.
would you be doing?
We can
Come
actually
on
do
now,
it.
come on.
Find you some clip-on earrings as well. Before you know it, you'll be part of the drag artists of the Falkland Islands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
people
no.
get roped into that really quickly.
Yeah,
Be careful.
I got here and Paula was immediately like, so do you want to be part of the show? And I was like, I don't know. I've just gotten off the plane, Paula.
Yeah, I haven't slept in 24
Yeah.
hours.
That's how she gets you. You've not slept. You don't know what you're agreeing to.
Yeah.
Makes you sign that
Whilst
contract.
you're
Exactly.
unawares, yeah.
Like, okay, you want a signature? Sure, yeah, sure, why not?
It'd be good though. It would actually be quite good to do the Mabel a bit differently because we always say,
Yeah.
"Oh, what are you wearing? Tell us about what
Yeah.
you're wearing. Why does it matter what they're wearing?
exactly.
Do you know,
But,
should we?"
Yeah, and I don't know well enough, but I believe that the target audience for the piece, that is what they enjoy. But I have no research into it myself, so I'm not going to say that as fact. I'm just saying that's my belief as to why we've done it that way. But you're right. There's always room to experiment.
We could go in for it. Katie went in for it last year.
Yeah.
May Prince.
Well, her and Elliot did dance the night away.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna adorn my big pink meringue
I've
dress
seen
that I
that
bought
dress. It's amazing.
here. Maybe you could borrow that.
Maybe
There
I
we
could.
go.
Maybe I
Is
could
that the
wear
one you
that.
got from
Speedwell, yeah, that was ridiculous. But I'd never been to a ball before, so I was like, sod it. Oh, is that mustard? Probably not. Sod it, I'm going to get a big pink dress. I'm going to put that on, definitely. Get my money's worth out
Yeah,
of it.
definitely.
Why not? I don't think I've got any matching shoes, though, which might be a disaster. So
Oh.
if anyone has any
Does
pink
it
sparkly
not cover
shoes...
your feet though?
I think it was too long for me, actually. Oh, no, Paula did a very good job of hemming it up. Sorry,
Oh.
Paula, I remember you did. Thank you. Sorry, credit to Paula. She did actually do a lot of alterations to it for me. But that's the problem being short.
Yeah.
Everything's too long. But anyway, moving on swiftly.
Moving on.
Yeah, from the Mabel. We'll be
We-
talking plenty more about that next
Yeah,
week.
that's
Exactly.
next week.
We've got something very exciting coming up next week. Well, this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's a super duper fitness themed weekend, isn't it? Who's doing the Three Peaks?
Oh,
I am.
well, we are filming it.
We're filming it. I don't know
Why
if we're
aren't you
doing
two
it.
running it? Come on.
Because I don't know if we're fit enough. Honestly.
Well, Jerry's offered to take you out on a fitness session.
Jelly's offered to take me on a fitness session.
I think.
But then he goes to the gym every day at 5 a.m.
And he's
So-
paid to be fit.
and he's paid to be fit. He's
Quote
paid to go
unquote,
to the gym.
Jerry Sutherland,
Yeah.
Media Rocks.
He was like, "Oh, I'm paid to go to the gym." I was like, "Well, if I was paid to go to the gym, then I would."
But we also had last weekend. We had the pink walk too, didn't
Oh,
we?
we had
And
the
it
pink
was
walk.
it was a funny old day because.
Far less strenuous than the Three Peaks.
Yes,
Well,
shall we
gosh,
say.
far less
yes.
strenuous.
But it was a funny day because when I remember waking up at 7 and it was absolutely
It was shocking
pouring.
it down.
And then
Yes.
all of a sudden it was like there was a little window, a glimmer of hope
Yeah.
as the sun came out for the walk, so nobody got soaked.
Because we met up at the office, didn't we, about an
Yeah.
hour before it
Yeah.
was meant to start, and
We were all quite concerned that it might be cancelled because
Yeah.
the weather was absolutely atrocious.
But it was good actually. I think Vicky said that. I can't remember what did she say exactly.
said
Something
that-
like cancer doesn't take a rain check,
Yeah.
so we won't either. And I thought fair play.
Yeah, and she was saying that one year that they did it and it was in like driving snow,
Mm.
so I don't think anything stops them
But
really.
how many people ran it in the end?
179.
And
Whoa.
do you know how much
As
money?
far as
was
I
it?
know.
that was the turnout.
Yeah,
Oh,
100.
that's fantastic.
I believe it was 179.
Was it?
And then I think the money that they raised was £3,600.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's good. Because some of that went to Cancer Research UK and some
Yeah,
of it
some of
went
it went
to
to the
local.
local cancer support group and stuff down here.
That's good though. I think that one year we should actually take part.
Yeah,
in
I
it.
think we should because I think it
Well, yeah, I
could
realised.
work quite well.
Yeah, I realised how, because it is just a walk. I realised when we did it this weekend
Yeah.
that one of us can easily take
definitely.
part
Yeah.
and stop, film some bits, jog ahead, we'll walk ahead so that you've got some different people in the shots.
That's what I did when as soon as they started. I followed them round the corner and down to the end. I thought,
Very good.
Yeah, so we've got the Three Peaks, another fitnessy thing this week. We've
Yeah.
also got Falk Fit, which
Falk
we've never
Fit.
done before, which is
What's
the
Falk Fit?
fittest lady and man on MPA camp.
Okay,
So
you're
apparently
going
the
up for that, are
complex,
you?
yeah. So I've heard through the grapevine that 2 members of FIDF might be going up too. So it should be quite good to see. I don't know what kind of drills whether they're going to be like have to do drills and it's going to be hardcore. Right, come on, blah blah blah.
Obstacle course.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
like a mini Olympics. Or something.
I don't know.
Maybe it's like total wipeout.
Or what's the one with the Crystal Maze?
Crystal Maze.
Crystal Maze.
Or
Takeshi's Castle.
Or is it the Ninja Thingy Warriors? What's Ninja Warrior? Is that the one where they have crazy
Ninja
obstacle course
Yeah.
and jumping from ring to ring?
Yeah. So that should be quite
that'll be
interesting.
A friend of mine in the UK actually was on that a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Didn't watch it. Must admit. I'm just jealous of his body, really. That's what it is.
But also, you've been very busy.
I mean,
As a result of bets that you've lost,
Yes.
you've been very busy doing fitness stuff as well, haven't you, Tom?
Yeah, so I lost a bet to
A
go.
series of bets.
Let's get this right.
Yes.
A lot of bets.
A lot of bets.
Turns out gambling, not my forte. Never get a gambling addiction, Tom. So I lost a bet, and it meant that now every lunchtime, apart from Thursdays, pay off, I go to an insanity class, which if anybody knows me and knows how I go through stints of being really fit for 2 months and then really unfit for the next 9 months of the year, and I'm in a trying to get fit mode, and the bet is essentially that I will keep up with this insanity stuff for longer than that 2 month period. So
because it's a 2 month program, isn't it? Insanity, from what
Yeah.
I don't know tons about this, but I've heard.
Yeah,
that,
but
and then they go up and up in a stage.
So they're recycling it, and now it's like getting longer and a bit more intense. But I joined 8 weeks in. So,
that was fun.
So it's been fantastic. The core stuff where it's like 40, 50 seconds per.
Jesus.
So it's 50 seconds per exercise, but there's no break in between. You go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. And that just, the core bit's about 10 minutes long, and that's just 10 minutes non-stop of that. So I was doing that, and I for the life of me, I couldn't do it for 50 seconds. I kept dropping down, and they're like, oh yeah, we started on 15 seconds like 8 weeks ago, and I was like,
But is there an incentive? This is what I want to know. Is there a very sexy man or lady shouting at you, making you do it? Because if there's that kind of incentive, then I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, I can do this.
I mean, it is a sexy man. I mean, I don't swing that way personally, but I will admit that objectively, damn.
Oh, is this in the video? It's a video,
It's in the video, yes. But what I like the most about it is that there is that constant enthusiasm, and the good thing is, because I'm not doing it on my own, there's like 7 or 8 of us doing it. It really pushes me to try harder when you see people and they're not giving up.
Yeah.
It makes you go, no, I'm going to push myself that extra step to do it, you know?
That's good.
That's the thing when you try to work out on your own. You kind of give up when you feel like you start to hurt.
Don't you?
We should get you to go, Carl, and do a piece on it. That would be really interesting. Carl tries everything. Carl tries insanity.
Yeah.
See, I would, but now
Kyle
it's like,
goes
what,
insane.
10 weeks in?
Yeah, but it's fine. Because they've come
Right, mate,
I
it's
won't
fine.
die.
They've come back round to the start now anyway, so you can. I'm going in about 40 minutes actually, if you fancy it.
But it's funny actually saying that. The front page of the Penguin News this week is to do with Falkland Islands being outside, isn't it? I don't know, you've got that. I don't know if you can read the headline.
Next to me: being outside is the key to happiness in the Falklands. I added a couple of words in there just because I don't think it flows without them.
Ooh, shots fired.
Pew pew.
But yeah, no, it's interesting actually because a lot of the jobs here are
quite
outdoors. You've got a lot of rural kind of farming jobs and things like that, and construction jobs and whatnot.
Well, our job,
but I was reading in that article, apparently it's women are less likely to be working outside than men. There's a percentage in there somewhere.
Is that because of despite the fact that we are getting towards men and women having more equal jobs and everything else, but manual labour jobs are more frequently done by men.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say farming actually. I would say farming's probably
Mixed.
quite equally split. But yeah, manual labour and stuff, I would still say that you go driving around town, you would see a lot more men outside, wouldn't you?
See, I think what it should mean is that we should turn around when Paula gets back and say, right, we need to spend 3.5 days out the office. Excuse me, we need to get some more fresh air in our systems.
That was my favourite bit about doing the filming with Bailey, is that I spent 2 days out and about filming with him until we started filming the museum. It's way too warm in there. Oh, God. Way too warm.
But yeah, no, it's funny because here, I don't know whether you've found this, Carl, since you've arrived from the UK, where you've probably been
indoors,
boxed in
an office,
in an office, or
allowed to leave for 1 hour of the day.
That I can imagine. I don't know. Do you find here that a lot of people are quite outdoorsy?
It's so outdoors here. Like even doing this job,
but even when the weather's awful, people are always out and about, going for runs.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. I think with here, even if the weather's bad, you can't cancel anything because the weather's going to be bad again.
And it's so changing. But it'd be interesting to see what the statistics are on obesity here.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe
See how
we can
active
find
people
that
are.
out for next week. But it would be interesting to see whether, just because I know there are a lot of outdoorsy activity things here to do, and loads of people who do it are very dedicated.
And there's loads
but
of
then there's
sports
also
clubs and
A lot of people
who aren't. So it'd be
well,
interesting.
I think in speaking a little bit on like the harder news front of things, but the Executive Council approved a paper on a new public health strategy. So a temporary paper was put through, but they've just approved that, which is exactly about that. It's about preventative health. So it's about making sure that everyone leads a healthy lifestyle from the start. And I'm sure that will tie into all of the... like.
Sorry, I'm pointing my finger very
from the
excitedly at Tom. I don't know, excitedly is it? Or is it like a gangster?
I don't know. You have got it a bit to the side, you know.
Looks like a trigger finger. It wasn't. But no, I agree with you. I think actually the way to deal with it is to tackle it at a very young age.
Yeah.
Schools,
Give them proper
parents,
education.
diets, looking after kids. I know here obviously it's quite difficult to lead a healthy diet.
There was
People
a
might
thing.
argue,
There was a
but
thing not too long ago, and I don't know whatever happened about it. It was in the news in the UK about they wanted to try and introduce something that letting your child become seriously obese was like mistreatment, like it was like child abuse. They wanted to try and see if they could incorporate that into legislation.
But that's difficult. There's a fine line though, because some of it is genetics, i.e. if you're big family, your metabolism, you've got slow metabolism, whatever, and some of it is obviously bad.
Messy.
I'm gonna say it. Bad parenting. I'm sorry. I think it is.
And I think
if you
that's
can't
where it
control,
came
you know,
into,
it's your kids turning around and saying, "Oh, I want a chocolate dollar." You don't want to have that argument. You don't want to have that fight. You can't be bothered. You're tired after a day's work. Just give them whatever you want. Stick them in front of the TV, and I think it's awful. Don't have kids if you can do that. Sorry, but don't.
Strong opinions.
No, but like obviously, I'm not saying if I had children, I'd make them eat rabbit food and quinoa all the time. But you learn by the way you're brought up is how you're going to be when you're old. You know your environment that you're brought up in. You learn the habits of your family and how you've been brought up and your diet. I don't know about you guys. Sometimes, obviously, like you might have been brought up in a household where your diet is very healthy, and then you want to go totally the other way. But I've 9 times out of 10, for me personally, it's all what my parents have cooked and how I've learned how to cook through them.
And I think as much as anything else, for me, it's not about what someone looks like. It's not about your personal choices. And I don't never want to say, hey, this person's better than you because you eat at McDonald's more often. That's not it. But for me, it's about a healthy lifestyle. And I think you owe that to yourself and you owe that to your kids.
But it's the financial aspect of things as well. And I don't know whether you found this when you first came here. You look in the supermarket and you look at fresh fruit and veg and your jaw drops. The prices are ridiculous. So it's not encouraging people to be healthy. If it's cheaper to buy a big old bag of frozen chicken, whoever, if anyone's listening to this, they'll probably know who I'm pointing at with this bag of frozen chicken analogy. But if you're buying a big bag of frozen chicken, it's cheaper to buy that or a big bag of Bernard Matthews turkey dinosaurs than it is to buy fresh chicken breast. Or fresh fruit and veg. That's my rant for the day, I'm sorry.
But it is true, and like even the vegetables you get then are frozen, which, albeit the frozen vegetables aren't bad for you and they do contain everything you need them to contain, it does limit you in terms of what you want to cook. There's a variety of things. It becomes a one-pot meal all of a sudden, and it becomes very easy to sort of not have a balanced diet.
Plus you've got to think of like time constraints as well. Like you can buy all the fresh fruits and vegetables and food in the world. It's still going to take you 3 hours to prepare it all, cook it all, and get it on the table.
But Carl, this is a you thing.
No, it's not just a me thing.
This is a Kyle thing. Kyle's problem is that he can't be bothered to put the hours of tender love and care into cooking. You don't enjoy cooking.
I don't enjoy cooking. I still cook. I've cooked every day that I've been here.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't cooking from scratch. Okay, let's not get onto this. But speaking of food, I'm gonna contradict everything I've just said by saying speaking of food and healthy lifestyles.
Hannah just spent the whole week.
Yesterday I spent the whole afternoon eating lovely buffet food from the Lookout Lodge because they had a open day. They've done a load of refurbishments, which is a little hotel-y /
like restauranty
kind of place around the corner, and they were doing an open day to show off the new refurbishments. They had this massive buffet and a platter with all these different bits and bobs, and they're now doing catering. So offices, if you've got a wedding, whatever, you can ring them up, you can order certain things. And I noticed on their leaflet and the menu of what they do, they're starting to do breakfasty things. And I thought, Paula Foams, if you're listening, that we could maybe do a once a month breakfast buffet in the
That'd be
office.
interesting.
Yeah.
Croissants and ham and cheese and all the different yummy bits. Probably the most unhealthiest things ever.
And once a month, every podcast listener can hear us talk whilst chewing.
Yes, exactly. I thought it'd be a
Bonus
very good
content.
idea.
Yeah. No, I think it would be quite a nice group bonding activity.
Yes.
Where we sit down and we have our breakfast and we have our chat.
Exactly.
Once a week.
So, please, if Bonnie who's over the other side, if she's listening, please can
Seafish,
you,
Lookout Lodge, anyone like that.
If
you
you'd
want
like to give us a free buffet,
you want to sponsor
do
the
let us know.
podcast.
and we'll drop your name into it a lot of times and plug your business.
Exactly. Oh, that's going to lead really nice. Oh, that's going to lead nicely onto my recommendation.
I was going to say, go on then.
later
What's
as
your
well.
recommendation?
Well, my recommendation, talking of plugging, my recommendation for this week is YouTube channel called Lost LeBlanc. So if you're interested in going around and doing a bit of solo traveling or just looking for a new holiday destination, he's really, really good at trying to get off the beaten track and gives you some really nice short videos on a variety of different cities all across the world and things like that. So that's my recommendation
That
for this
sounds
week.
nice.
But speaking of which, I looked at one yesterday because I'm going to Portugal this summer. So I was looking at his Lisbon video to see what's going on there, and that's where the plug came up. They got around. He saw these guys on what was called Steez scooters, like electric scooters, but are sort of like half sit down, half stood up kind of thing. So
Squat.
look really steezy, whatever that word means.
What is steezy?
yeah.
It's like
I've never heard of that.
you've never heard of the word steez.
No.
It's
I've
like
heard of
it's
it, but I
like
don't know
really
what-
like it's like cool and like it's almost like.
But if you're squatting, don't you look really
Well, no, because you still
like
have
you're
it.
on
You
the
still have a
toilet?
seat. You still have a seat, so you're sort of like your legs are extended and
Cruising,
you're going around.
cruising.
Exactly
No,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Exactly like that. So, but he saw these guys and he was making this video, and they stopped off and said, "Do you want to get a scooter?" And he said, "Well, I don't want to pay for it, but this is my YouTube channel. This is how many views I get on it, kind of thing. Can I get one for free for the day?" And he just like, he spent,
Shameless.
and I was like,
Absolutely shameless.
so he spent half the video plugging it. So I wasn't a massive fan of that, but sorry, that's what made me think of it.
That
But his
sounds-
videos are good
that sounds
nonetheless,
good.
and it's really nice to see a couple of different. Because I was thinking about hiring a car in Portugal, and one of the big things he says that Lisbon, impossible to park,
Yep.
always on a hill.
Yep.
Parking
Yep.
when you do find it's really expensive.
Yep.
Yep.
And because the streets are so small and narrow,
It's not worth
it's
it.
so hard to
Yeah,
drive
yeah, yeah.
around. And he said the public transport in Lisbon's fantastic.
They've got all the trams
Yes,
and
exactly
things
that.
like that. I've been there actually.
Apparently,
it's
it's
really
a lot like
nice.
Stanley. I mean, he compared it to San Francisco, but it's all on a hill. It's like you're always going up
Apart from
or
it's
downhill.
warm and the weather's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Carl, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is to not watch the last episode of Game of Thrones,
Pew pew.
and instead to only watch people reacting to the last episode of Game of Thrones on Twitter, because it's far more entertaining.
So you're not going to watch it?
No, I'm
you've,
gonna-
you've now said it to all of our listeners that you're not going
That
to watch
you'd
the last
recommend
episode.
I've not
watching it.
said that I'm not going to watch it. I'm
You just
going
said
to
you're
watch
going
it.
to.
I'm saying I'm recommending other people don't watch it, and then instead see what they understand from it by watching people's reactions on Twitter. Because I think it's far funnier because people just get so angry on Twitter
I
about
saw a
it.
great article the other day that was saying that like Game of Thrones memes, Game of Thrones season 8 memes have been 10 times better than Game of Thrones season
They
8.
have been excellent. Oh my god.
I've got a mouthful of
Daenerys
biscuit.
burnt, like spoiler alert, but Daenerys burnt down King's Landing because
did.
Starbucks wouldn't serve her anymore. All right, Hannah, what's
Yeah.
your recommendation for
My
this week?
recommendation is very, very dry this week. My recommendation is AirPods or wireless headphones. I've had a
Is it
nightmare.
just a fashion thing?
No, it
Are
really
you just
isn't.
following the trend?
Oh my god, it's not. Right. No, I have always been a big fan of wired headphones, but then this week, I got my new iPhone. Plug iPhone, Apple, please send us new phones.
Mojo.
Yes, and I got some AirPods for it because I was like, right, you know what? I don't want to have wired headphones anymore. I'm way too cool. And then I lost my headphones this week and had to go back to the wired ones and cried. Honestly, it was awful. I felt lost without them. No, but I listen to music all the time, and walking with wired headphones is the most irritating thing ever because you don't know, do you put the wire under your jacket? Do you put it over the top of your jacket? Are you supposed to have them poking out here? Like, how do... So, yeah.
I think for people that haven't used wireless ones might not see the pain, but I can see what you mean about
But
going
in the
to
wind
going
as
to
well,
wireless.
In here, the wind's blowing, and then half the headphones coming out. I don't know. It's just the most irritating thing ever.
See, I'm on the other side. I've just gotten wireless headphones, and I do not enjoy them because I have to recharge them all the time.
Yeah, but you've got weirdo ones with the funny neck back bit, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
no,
still.
don't ever go for the back neck ones. The back
Still,
neck ones
I just
are
don't like
terrible.
having to charge headphones. Like, I'd rather just plug them in and be able to listen
Yeah,
to
but you
it.
have to charge your phone anyway. Now we're having an argument.
You two
Yeah,
living
but I
together
have
has
to
made you a massively old couple, hasn't it? Old married couple.
Yeah, but you have to charge your phone
Yes,
anyway.
but
you
let's
don't have
just-
to charge headphones separately
Let's
to
just
that.
let's just say this about Kyle. He's an Android man. That says
I
it
mean,
all.
I think that just finishes the argument
Androids are
altogether.
good. Look,
Yeah, I think that just finishes
Androids
it
are good.
altogether. Oh, sorry, just...
And now we'll go on to our Would You Rather section. What is your Would You Rather
Tom's
for this
turn.
week, Thomas?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a shame because the wireless versus non-wireless headphones could have been quite a good Would
Could
You
have
Rather.
been quite a
there.
good debate.
All right, I'm going to go musical this week. So, would you rather, have the ability to play any musical instrument perfectly, but just have an awful singing voice, or be able to sing perfectly?
Oh, I'd go for the musical instrument easily. I'd love to be able to play every musical instrument and not sing.
I think I'd love to be able to sing.
Why would you prefer singing?
Because it's easy. It's easier than being able to playing an instrument. I think, just from my own experience, I'm not a great singer.
I see what you mean.
but
So you
I'm
can
worse at-
just like walking around the house, you're doing something else, you can sing
Yeah,
and
exactly.
entertain yourself.
You don't have to, like-
stop.
So are you just saying that all singers have no talent and that actually
No,
it's
I'm not saying that.
What are you saying
Tons
then?
of singers have talent. You're twisting my words in order to make it controversial. I'm saying that if
Don't
you,
worry, the question's going to be thrown back at Hannah in a second.
because if you, it's easier to sing because you can sing while you're doing other stuff. You can just do it in general, do it in the car, sing along. Whereas if you've got to cart around a guitar to show off, like
You could have a harmonica that can fit in your pocket.
I mean, you could, but how many people want to listen to harmonica?
Lots of people want to listen to harmonica, actually. To all those harmonica players out there, I'm really sorry if Carl's offended you.
But then again, he is an Android
To
man.
all-
Yes, so that's it all.
To all one of you listening who play the harmonica,
Ooh,
if that.
Bob Dylan was a big harmonica player. Bruce Springsteen.
I don't
Dylan
listen
was
to a lot of Bob
overrated.
Dylan.
Oh my gosh. I can't go on with this. This is terrible. Terrible, terrible.
If you don't think Bob Dylan was overrated, watch Searching for Sugarman. There we go.
Oh god.
Plus, the only times I hear the harmonica being played is in those like one-man bands that always sound kind of off. Hannah's looking
Hannah's
aghast at
face
me.
here is an absolute
How
picture.
dare you?
So
How
Hannah,
dare you?
why would you prefer to be able to play any musical instrument than sing?
Because that's such a talent. I mean, you can find yourself a singer, left, right, and centre, but to be able to play every musical instrument, anything you pick up, imagine that's like a million talents. Do
But,
you know?
but would you not? Because say in this scenario, you can play any musical instrument, but you can't sing. But if you're a singer, you can still have the option to learn and dedicate yourself to learning how to play musical instruments. So you have the singing already.
Yeah, but
you
could
can-
I
you
not
can
still do
teach.
vocal training?
You could.
Darling, I think I could do vocal training. It's not going to matter.
I also think that you don't necessarily need vocals in a song or
Oh, no,
anything
you
like
don't.
that. So you could do music for films. You could do music for anything. Do you know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that one is more talented than the other. I'm not going to make the mistake Carl's made.
I wouldn't say that. You said that, and then accused me of
But
saying that.
I think the ability to play any musical instrument would just you bringing people together. Whereas the ability to sing without the music, the singing's not.
Oh, I don't know. There's some fantastic a cappella stuff out
There's
there. I
some
think
really
there's
good a cappella
something
stuff out
really,
Yeah,
really
but
quite
how
beautiful.
many a cappella bands are there one person singing in it?
But
You
can
can
have,
find
but
other people.
you can have singing without music, which can be beautiful.
Yeah.
But how many people do you know that one person sings without music?
And how many people play guitars? I can sing and get
But
myself.
I'm not
guitars.
saying this. I'd be able to play the sitar. There we go. I could play whatever I want. Bongos. I'd have a right laugh. I think that's the best. Honestly, I think that talent would be way better. It's more talents than singing. Singing's one talent. Being able to play any musical instrument is a spectrum of talents.
Does that count as a spectrum of talents?
It is a spectrum of talents, Kyle. Sorry, listener, if you're wondering why there's tension between Kyle and I, it's because he's an Android man.
Personally, if I'm going to throw the question back to myself, I'd rather have the ability to sing, and I'd then be able to dedicate myself to learning how to play the instruments I really want to play. But I think I would much rather have singing, because I know that if I really dedicate myself to learning an instrument, there is that possibility of me learning it. Whereas in terms of singing, I could dedicate myself from now until the rest of my days to sing. I will not be a good singer.
But how do you know that? How do you know that there's no possibility to improve your voice?
Because
there's a certain amount of physicality in like how your vocal cords are structured in terms of like if you can
Mr.
sing
Singer.
well or not.
Carl seems to be an expert on this subject. Come on, Carl, give us some sing
No, I
song
can't sing and I can't play any
on
musical
Falklands in
instruments.
Focus next week, Kyle Nappy introduces the biology of singing.
I think on that note, we're probably going to have to love you and leave you all, listeners, because we've been rattling on for half an hour.
So make sure you go and listen to this with some music in the background, or no music in the background. See which one you prefer. I think a cappella might sound better.
Watch our show. Obviously, watch our show on Friday. It's on KTV HD, channel 855.
Yes,
I've
indeed.
remembered it. Are you
Nice.
impressed with that? I've remembered that. Also, check out this podcast and other podcasts and previous podcasts and future podcasts. Meanwhile, in the Falklands on iTunes or on our SoundCloud.
Yes, indeed. It's
We'll see you
episode
next-
429 this week,
Yeah.
if you want to watch along.
And podcast-wise, we must be hitting into our 50s now.
Yeah, well, I think we're coming up on a year of podcasts.
God.
Jeez.
We're going to have to, we need to
We
make
have to
sure
have
we
a
know
party.
when that is, yeah.
We'll have to get that buffet in, Paula.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
See you guys next
See
week.
you later.
Bye.